tonight, escaping a ferocious fire in northern Alberta.
I was a nervous wreck. I feel lost. I just wanted to go home.
As the flames crept dangerously close, residents are told to get out and fast. How a town once devastated by fire is now offering refuge.
From the streets to the courts, the battle over abortion in America, and why here in Canada it may be legal, but that doesn't mean it's accessible.
This is the first time in Canada that a zoo owner is facing criminal animal cruelty charges.
100 exotic animals in rundown cages, some going thirsty. What else Quebec officials found at a roadside zoo? This is The National.
Tonight, thousands of northern Albertans are waiting, watching, and likely trying to will a wildfire away from their homes. They've fled, ordered out as the fire burns out of control just about 5 kilometers from the small town of High Level. The flames are towering, and the threat as this fire rages just a few kilometers from town is big. The pictures make that clear, and so do the numbers. It's only one of around 24 wildfires burning in Alberta right now, but it is by far the biggest, nearly 800 square kilometers in size. On a wildfire intensity scale that only goes to 6, it is a 6.
The fire is jumping from crown to crown of trees.
Too dangerous to attack from the ground, dozens of water bombers are waging a war from above. And firefighters are heading in from other provinces to help. High Level's mayor wants her residents to know their homes are safe for now.
The fire continues to move and continues to be dangerous, but at this point is moving away from the town. Our CMP have patrolled nightly, and as well as the fire department.
Many of the nearly 5,000 evacuees headed south to Slave Lake, right into the arms of a community that knows exactly how devastating a wildfire can be. Aaron Collins now with how many people there are paying it forward.
Out of control and on the move, this fire is as dangerous as they come and destructive, knocking out power and cell service to High Level, forcing thousands to evacuate late yesterday, many making it out with just the bare necessities.
Just my clothes, my IDs, that's all. I left everything. It's what we needed to go. I didn't have much time to pack.
It's become something of an unwelcome spring tradition in northern Alberta. Wildfires chasing people from their homes, followed by makeshift caravans scrambling to safety.
Oh, you can feel the heat.
It was a similar scene 3 years ago as the city of Fort McMurray was evacuated. About 2,500 homes and businesses were eventually reduced to ash by the blaze dubbed the Beast. In 2011, it was Slave Lake that burned, leaving more than 700 people homeless. Slave Lake's mayor was working as a firefighter when his town was evacuated. He says that what his community went through then makes it the perfect refuge for the 700 people from High Level who've come here for shelter.
It's been really great from the community, overwhelming support from residents, businesses saying, hey, I'm ready, my doors are open, I'll babysit kids, I'll walk dogs, I'll do whatever you need.
An understanding that is a comfort to this province's latest wildfire evacuees.
We're so thankful that Slave Lake is really like our home for now. And then, yeah, we're still, like, our heart's still there. We're still hoping that there's no damage in our properties.
Evacuees are being told they should be prepared to be out of their homes for at least 72 hours. Of course, as it always does, it'll be the weather that inevitably decides that. And unfortunately for those out of their homes tonight, more warm, dry weather is forecast for the coming days. Aaron Collins, CBC News, Slave Lake, Alberta.
So Mother Nature may not be helping out, but there are extra forces on their way. British Columbia's Wildfire Service says it will send 267 personnel over the next 2 days to help wherever they're needed in the province. Crews from Ontario and Nova Scotia are also expected to join in. All right, let's turn now to the United States and an issue dividing the country and sparking an emotionally charged debate.
Absolutely. That's one over the right to an abortion. And in every state in the United States today, protesters fought against what they call a step backwards. New restrictions have been passed in 8 Republican-led states. Now, some have banned abortions once a fetal heartbeat can be found, and in Alabama, there's no exception, not even in cases of rape or incest. One of the biggest rallies was held today outside the U.S. Supreme Court, the very place, as Lindsay Duncombe reports, where so many fear this fight will end up.
There are new fears behind the pro-choice protests across the United States. Fears rooted in old stories.
It's terrible. I have friends that died from coat hanger abortions. I don't want my granddaughters to die.
The scariest prospect for these crowds is that Roe v. Wade, the 1973 decision legalizing abortion in the U.S., could be overturned.
You can have my freedoms, my body, my choice.
The logic behind those fears goes like this. Alabama and other states deliberately passed laws to challenge Roe.
The United States, under the Constitution and laws.
And the Supreme Court now has 2 new conservative justices appointed by a president who supports banning most abortions. But experts say that doesn't mean Roe v. Wade is doomed, at least not yet.
What's happening now in Alabama and in Missouri is like a sledgehammer. They're making it virtually impossible to get an abortion, and the court won't tolerate that.
Lower courts are likely to strike down the state laws. If, as expected, the laws are appealed to the Supreme Court, the justices may be reluctant to take up a case that so blatantly challenges established law. And no matter who appointed them and why, even the new justices may not want to look as though they are being manipulated by political masters.
I think Roe versus Wade is secure for the foreseeable future, or at least for the immediate future.
Many believe that what's more likely than a reversal of Roe versus Wade is that the court will continue to chip away at access to abortion, allowing states to make it tougher and tougher to get the procedure without outlawing it completely. Lindsay Duncombe, CBC News, Washington.
And abortion is legally available in Canada, but that does not mean women across the country have equal access. Katie Nicholson looks at some of the barriers and found a whole new occupation has sprung up to help women get past them.
What does an abortion doula do?
That's what these people are here to learn.
A lot of it is just support and information.
There are abortion services in every province and territory, but accessing them isn't always easy. Abortion doulas are emerging to help guide women through the process. Shannon Hardy has seen the need for these services firsthand in the Atlantic provinces.
We had someone who was quite young and couldn't speak to the people, the nurses on the phone at certain times because, family members were around. So unfortunately in this case, she missed the window for using medication, that's mifegammizo, and did end up having to come into the city for a surgical.
There are 2 types of abortion, medical and surgical. Which type a woman can choose depends on where she lives and how far along she is. Typically, medical abortions induced by a pill are offered up to 9 weeks gestation. But if a woman wants a surgical abortion, the cutoff varies greatly across the country, from 13 to 24 weeks. It even varies within provinces. Take BC, where surgical abortion cutoffs range from 12 weeks in Cranbrook to 23 weeks in Vancouver, where there are greater resources in case there are complications. The Abortion Rights Coalition of Canada maintains a directory of abortion clinics. It lists 60 facilities across the country that provide services, but they tend to be concentrated in urban centres.
In Alberta, the only places you can get an abortion are Calgary or Edmonton. That's a rural population. There's a lot of women that don't live anywhere close to Calgary or Edmonton.
This legal activist says even Canada's weather and geography can work against women seeking an abortion.
Even winter conditions can make it near impossible to get to an abortion providing hospital within the time frame.
But travel time and costs aren't the only roadblocks.
Stigma is a huge barrier for women seeking abortion services.
Something these doulas are hoping to change, one woman at a time. Katie Nicholson, CBC News, Toronto.
The federal party leaders in Canada seem to agree that they would not reopen the abortion debate. They've all said as much with the exception of Maxime Bernier, the leader of the People's Party of Canada. Today, he said his members would be free to move a private member's bill and then vote their conscience.
Canada is in a difficult diplomatic position with two rather angry countries, Saudi Arabia and China, and there's been little progress in mending fences with either of them. Let's start with China. Relations chilled when Canada arrested Huawei executive Meng Wanzhou in December. China then detained Canadians Michael Kovrig and Michael Spavor soon after. And as David Cochran tells us, critics say it's time Ottawa tried something new to cut the tension.
The Prime Minister is taking a victory lap for settling the stubborn tariff standoff with the United States. But he's also taking questions about an even more stubborn and nowhere near settled standoff with China.
China is playing making stronger moves than it has before to try and get its own way on the world stage. And Western countries and democracies around the world are pulling together to point out that this is not something that we need to continue to allow.
Trudeau and his Foreign Minister Chrystia Freeland have spoken directly to many of those world leaders, trying to increase the global pressure on China. But the one country they can't get on the phone is China itself.
I have sought repeatedly a meeting with Wang Yi, the foreign minister, my counterpart. Thus far, that meeting hasn't happened, but if Chinese officials are listening to us today, let me repeat that I would be very keen to meet with Minister Wang Yi or to speak with him over the phone at the earliest opportunity.
We allowed the situation to really spiral out of control over the last few months, and now it's clear the Trudeau government can't get their calls returned.
So along with the indirect diplomacy of lobbying world leaders, Canada is also relying on lower-level diplomacy, such as the parliamentary delegation that is in China right now. Rob Oliphant, the Parliamentary Secretary for Foreign Affairs, is part of the trip and is raising the issue directly with Chinese officials. But the Conservatives say Oliphant will get no FaceTime with top decision makers.
It's certainly not a substitute to the Prime Minister or the Minister engaging with their counterparts.
Canada is talking, but is China listening? In the meantime, the two Michaels, Spavor and Kovrig, can only wait and hope. David Cochran, CBC News, Ottawa.
When it comes to Canada's frosty relations with Saudi Arabia, some Saudi citizens have faced consequences. Riyadh moved to pull students in Canada out of the country after Ottawa raised concerns about the kingdom's detention of activists. As Kayla Hounsell tells us, 9 months later, some Saudi students remain in Canada, but they are keeping their heads down.
Among the crowd at this Halifax mosque are university students from Saudi Arabia. We don't know who they are because they're afraid to identify themselves for fear of what their government might do to their families back home. They were ordered out of Canada last summer.
Some of them, they were really sad about that. They were about to finish, they settled here, they have been here for years, they know the city, they have their homes, their cars, their belongings, everything.
9 months later, CBC News has learned many of the students stayed or left and came back.
It took us a while to even absorb it. Then I went into depression.
This Saudi student, whose identity we are protecting, was on a full scholarship from the Saudi government. He's managed to stay by paying his own way.
We're broke. We used everything we have. I would say that was the hardest period of my whole life.
But many students were able to continue without losing their Saudi scholarships. Medical students specifically were allowed to continue, as were students whose studies were nearly complete. There are still about 5,000 Saudi students studying at Canadian universities, down 2,500 from before the diplomatic crisis.
Over the ensuing weeks, through really good, effective dialogue, we had the opportunity to make sure the worst did not occur.
For universities, those students mean money because international fees are so much higher than Canadians pay. Mount St. Vincent, for example, took a $900,000 revenue hit. Others, like Dalhousie and McGill, which have med schools, were less affected.
The big thing that did for us is it exposed just how vulnerable we are.
Teaching hospitals rely heavily on Saudi residents to provide vital patient care. The Saudi government is not expected to sponsor any new students when current students graduate. So in Nova Scotia, for example, the province is funding new resident positions for Canadians, and universities are trying to attract students from other countries to help close the gap and reduce the risk.
It's a political issue.
This Saudi student calls his government's decision childish and irrational.
Resolve it in any political way you see, but don't involve students and people who are trying to study and make a living, and we have nothing to do with all of this.
He says he had planned to go home after completing his education, but now hopes to stay in Canada. Kayla Hounsel, CBC News, Halifax.
A Quebec roadside zoo owner was arrested. His zoo now in the hands of animal welfare investigators. They say the Saint-Edouard Zoo was a scene of cruelty and neglect, finding a collection of animals trapped in poor conditions. Some roadside zoos have faced scrutiny and fines before, but as Simon Nakonechny explains, charges like this are really unusual.
Bears, kangaroos, lions, kept in cages and fenced enclosures. Over 100 exotic animals living in dilapidated conditions, says the Humane Society, some with no access to water.
We've witnessed animals that are in apparent need of veterinary care, and we have a medical team on site that will be able to provide that care.
Today, SPCA agents arrested the zoo's owner. Normand Trahan was charged with animal cruelty and neglect under the criminal code. If convicted, he could face up to 5 years in prison.
This is the first time, to our knowledge, that in Canada a zoo owner is charged with criminal animal cruelty.
The zoo has a long history as a tourist attraction in the region, dating back to 1957. Trahan bought it in 1989, but over the past decade, he's faced scrutiny and fines from the province's Ministry of Wildlife. In August, the SPCA seized 2 alpacas from the facility. It also found 4 dead animals, including 2 tigers. Trahan had been trying to sell the operation so he could retire. His lawyer says the arrest came as a shock.
Il prévoyait ouvrir cette semaine. Maintenant, il choisit pas la façon. Il a toujours collaboré avec les autorités.
Trahan tried to go back to his zoo this afternoon. He was blocked by authorities. The Humane Society says it will start moving the creatures to sanctuaries across North America, a complex process that could take weeks. But if Trahan is acquitted, the animals could end up back behind these gates. Simon Nakonechny, CBC News, Montreal.
There are at least 100 roadside zoos across Canada, and regulations vary from province to province. The zoo organization CAZA has specific standards for animal care, but only 7 in Quebec have CAZA accreditation, and Saint-Edouard Zoo was not one of them.
Here's some of the other stories we're following tonight, including severe weather moving through the southern United States.
It was so scary. I just thank God we're all okay. That's all that matters.
At least 21 tornadoes have been reported in the last 2 days across 4 states, and then came the flooding. There have been more than 40 water rescues in just 1 county in Oklahoma. Severe storms still are expected in Missouri, Illinois, and Arkansas. Growing questions tonight about the disturbing case of this baby in Chicago. His mother was murdered and he was taken from her womb. A woman then took the baby to hospital and claimed him as her own. Now the authorities are investigating why the hospital took 2 weeks to alert police.
I'm just thinking in my own mind, if I see somebody coming in with a baby with an umbilical cord and a placenta, why does the mother look like she's in good health?
The woman who brought the baby to hospital, as well as her boyfriend and daughter, are facing charges.
Still ahead on The National, a new kind of retail experiment. That doesn't sound like something I need. How online brands are making their brick and mortar debut.
And later in our moment, taking the Kawhi Leonard fever to the next level, why Raptors fans say the writing, or rather the painting, is on the wall.
But first, plants, herbs, and cannabis. The green edition changing the gardening industry.
I'm not even a big user of cannabis. I really just excited to have it in my garden without the stigma or the illegality, and just have it be in its place among my other plants here.
You know something is going to happen because you've been attentive to everything in front of you. And that's how I get the shots. We had one shoot in a building. They've collected over 1,000 shoes of people that died in the hurricane. And they collected them, they had a museum, but they wanted to establish a building that will be permanent, right? This house, they had boarded it up because it's not official yet, right? So there's no ventilation, right? On a hot day, I couldn't see it through the viewfinder. There's so much sweat.
More of them has messages.
But you're rolling because he's not stopping. He doesn't feel this. This is his life on a daily basis. He's trying to show us what people went through.
Because I think we needed that.
Your job as a cameraman is like to reveal as much as you can and let the viewer decide. I want to bring that viewer deep inside there as much as I can, right? I want him to feel the heat. I want him to feel the hunger, right? The sweat. You cannot get emotional. Stories like this, it just comes out. You gotta be there for the moment. You gotta catch it because you'll never get those moments again.
I'd be lying if I didn't say that there's a few times I would let my camera roll and I'd just step back and just kind of take a deep breath and just kind of take it all in. And take one. So I got the amazing opportunity to go to the Yukon this year and shoot up on the glaciers with Susan Ormiston. A lot of times, you're looking for that close-up, that detail to really bring a viewer into the story that you're trying to tell. But on this shoot, it just felt like every shot that I was trying to get is like it felt that it was needed to be the wide shot to really tell the story. I think when I went to the Yukon, I was just trying to continuously think about how can I bring this to the viewer that they might have not seen before. One of the things I actually ended up doing was I brought a gimbal, which is like a small little stabilizer that can make your camera feel like it's floating. And for one of the scenes that we shot, I just used that the whole time because you can kind of move with the subjects, and they were measuring ice depth across the glaciers. And it kind of gave a sense of, when you're following along, you get a sense, oh, these are the crevices that they have to walk through. And oh, maybe that's a lot steeper than I thought it actually was. Or, I'll be lying if I didn't kind of slip a few times. It kind of showed that it was also, very icy and slippery as well. So I felt that that was the best way to give people perspective.
Acts like a dam and impounds the water.
It is gardening season for a lot of Canadians, and for the first time, it's legal to grow cannabis alongside your flowers and herbs. Every province except Quebec and Manitoba is following the federal law, which allows households to grow up to 4 plants indoors or out. As Diane Buckner shows us, it's given rise to yet another new sector of Canada's blossoming cannabis industry.
Got hazelnuts, currants, raspberries, plum, a little medicinal herbaria over there.
Matt Saltis is a botany student, a father of 2, and a first-time grower of recreational cannabis.
Just mixing in compost we make from all our kitchen scraps.
He started these plants indoors in February. Now that it's warm enough, he's ready to transplant them into his backyard garden.
And it could easily get like 6 feet tall, 6 feet wide.
Really?
It could easily get that big. I'm not even a big user of cannabis. I really just excited to have it in my garden without the stigma or the illegality, and just have it be in its place among my other plants here.
Nothing on here is labeled cannabis. All these products work for all types of plants.
Alex Ray is seeing new faces at his gardening store, which specializes in supplies for homegrown cannabis. Up until recently, the focus here has been on indoor growing, hydroponics for medicinal use.
Good afternoon, homegrown.
Since recreational use was legalized, though, outdoor gardeners are coming to shop.
For the price-conscious consumer, if you're paying around $10 a gram or more for the varieties at the store, you might be only paying 50 cents a gram or less for a variety that you grow yourself at home.
Even Scott's Miracle Grow, a well-known brand of fertilizer, has a cannabis division, Hawthorne Gardening. It's also been focused on hydroponics, but the company sees new opportunity.
We love the way that the laws in Canada come down. A lot of research and development folks have a lot of exciting things in there, what we call our innovation pipeline. A lot of those are focused outdoor growing as we see that continue to emerge.
But many provinces have seen supply problems with the processed product, and now there's a shortage of seeds as well.
These are Tweed Baker Street seeds.
This retail chain has a limited supply of just one variety, 4 seeds cost $60.
Legalization is new. October 17th was just a few months ago, so we know that our selection of seeds will absolutely grow.
Matt Saltis has what he needs for a good harvest in the fall. He has just one worry: theft.
I kind of advise people to plant it with visibility from neighbors in mind. So obscured by fences or other bushes, out of the way of people, although you can't do much about the scent when it's in full flower, unfortunately.
Hazelnuts and raspberries present no such problems, but cannabis aficionados may be convinced homegrown weed is worth the trouble, no matter the pitfalls. Diane Buckner, CBC News, Guelph.
Still ahead, why Jamie Oliver is closing most of his restaurants.
Up next, Michael Bublé on the moment that changed him forever.
A lot of the things that I thought mattered just are not important. And I think, I really wanted to experience the positive things in life.
To understand what the Assembly of First Nations is, the first thing you need to know is that it is not a government. The AFN is an advocacy organization for First Nations peoples. It's the largest one in Canada, representing more than 900,000 people from 635 communities. It does not represent Inuit or Métis people who have their own organizations. The AFN was established in 1982. It grew out of the National Indian Brotherhood, which was the main advocacy organization at the time. The Indian Brotherhood lobbied against policy changes like the 1969 White Paper, but there were concerns that the Indian Brotherhood, based on regional representation, didn't speak for individual First Nations. So the AFN was formed to make sure that each First Nation had a voice. The AFN's purpose is to advocate on behalf of First Nations people in dealings with the government and the public and private sectors. Land, health, education, natural resources, and housing continue to be top priorities for the AFN. It coordinates discussions and provides analysis on legislation and policy, and it lobbies for action on national issues like the legacy of residential schools and the rates of missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. Its role can be challenging because not all First Nations share the same priorities. But as an organization that's mostly federally funded, it's viewed by the government as the primary point of contact on national First Nations issues. The leader of the AFN is the National Chief. The National Chief is part of an executive committee with 10 regional representatives and the chairperson for the Elders Council. Along with the Elders Council, the Youth and Women's Council raise community concerns to the AFN. The National Chief is elected by a voting member from each of the 635 First Nations. Each First Nations chief or their proxy gets one vote. This process means that despite the population of individual First Nations, they all carry the same weight in an election. In order to win the 3-year term, the National Chief needs to win 60% of the vote. While the AFN continues to advocate for Indigenous peoples, it has faced criticism by some First Nations, particularly in its dealings with the federal government. Despite that criticism, the AFN remains the largest voice for First Nations peoples across Canada.
I want to say to you, all of you chiefs assembled here, we are the change.
No one has jurisdiction over my children and my grandchildren and my family except me and my brother and my sister. And that is how nationhood begins, by taking responsibility for ourselves and for our future.
And we always will find processes that unite rather than divide our people. That's the job. And when we look forward, we're an advocacy organization, no question. We're not a government.
We need a national chief who can negotiate with Trudeau and the state of Canada without needing to share a laugh and take a selfie after. Don't get me wrong, I like selfies, but not with him.
The results of the first ballot. Candidates, none of them have reached a 60% threshold. The results of the second ballot. Perry Bellegarde, 328.
This gap will be closed. Better housing, better education, better health care, and yes, lands and resources coming back to First Nations people, because we know it's assumed Crown sovereignty.
You know that face, Michael Bublé. He is soaring, packing stadiums around the world. His latest album topping charts, earning him another Juno. But he has made it clear he doesn't really care about that, as he said to CBC Radio's Tom Power.
For me, it was like there was a snap moment.
The snap. Well, that came from a time of struggle for Bublé and his family that changed him. And Tom connected with that moment and so much more. Here's a second look at that interview.
Michael Bublé!
Michael Bublé is back. 2 years ago, the Canadian crooner stepped away from the spotlight. His then 3-year-old son, Noah, had been diagnosed with cancer. So Bublé stopped everything, focusing on Noah's treatment and being a father. As the son recovered, Bublé slowly re-emerged, accepting a 2017 Governor General's Performing Arts Award.
Good evening, Vancouver!
And last March, hosting the Junos in his beloved hometown.
You can't know what it means to me to be here. It's been a couple years since I've been on stage. Love, it's all that I can give to you.
Since stepping on that stage, life for Michael Bublé has been on an upswing. Doctors say Noah's cancer is in remission. Michael Bublé and his wife welcomed a baby girl to their family.
When I fall in love.
And that's all being celebrated with a return to music and his 10th album, simply titled Love. I met up with Michael Bublé earlier this week in Toronto.
I'm sweating already.
I feel good. Just wait till I start grilling you.
It's a
And
stupid
you'll start
cold.
sweating. Let's do it. Ready to do it?
Yeah.
Michael Bublé.
Action, top.
Nice to see you.
Really nice to see you again.
Last time I saw you was backstage.
Yeah.
At the Junos.
Yeah.
And you were giving me hosting tips.
Yeah, well, because I think you're that night, because this was that's like the party of the industry party. There's like, how many people are in that room? A couple thousand people?
Couple thousand people,
It's
yeah.
a big room. And
You were very sweet. I was very nervous.
So was I think.
Like you came up to me and you were like, hey man, are you nervous right now? I was like, yeah, I'm a little nervous. He goes, I'm so nervous about tomorrow night. I'm not cursing. I can't curse as much as I want to right now.
Because I was cursing.
Yeah, you were cursing. We were both
know,
cursing. And it was, I'm so nervous about tomorrow too, man, but we're going to be all right. Just get up there and look them out in the eye, and you're funny, and go out and tell them your jokes, because they should laugh at them.
And then you killed it.
It was all right.
Then you go out and killed it,
It didn't go too bad. So then
This
the
is a
next
tough
night,
room.
you get up in the arena. I mean, this was a big moment. How did you feel when you got up there?
I feel the same way no matter what I do now. I feel like everything is easy.
No nerves.
Listen, I think I care. I think there's a sense of wanting to have integrity with what I do and wanting to be good. I think everybody wants to be good.
I would agree with
But
you.
I think, when everybody's in all of our lives, we all go through hard things. And I think when you go through really hard stuff, I think it makes other things relative. And you say, wow, I thought this was tough, but no, this is easy. So that night and all the other nights and this interview and all of the performances that I do, I actually really pray, practice, meditate on just enjoying and knowing how lucky I am.
Well, I want to talk about the new album. I want to talk about the future and all that stuff.
Sure.
I do want to talk a little bit about what you've gone through, not in any big detail. I just want to ask how your son is doing.
He's great, thank you.
He's doing all right?
He's great, thank you. And if you can imagine, now I've gone to I don't know how many countries, and every interview, of course, this is a question.
Yeah.
So for me, I understand that there's it's something I need to acknowledge, but I am so ready to move on.
Well, that was my next question. Is that like how have you found the actual act of people like me asking you about something incredibly personal in your life, like your son's cancer and your son's remission?
I don't think it's because you're a jerk.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I think that, you know what I mean? Your job as a journalist is to ask, to interrogate, to, you know what I mean? To find, you want to find out about the person. But I think it's painful for me. And also, it's not fair to my family and to my kids.
No, and it's
because they and I mean, when I say it's not fair, you can ask me whatever you want, but they deserve the chance to move on, and they deserve the chance to be able to sort of not sit back in the past, but to be able to look ahead to the future and to be excited about all the beautiful things that are happening. And so I think it's more, Tom, about me having to have the strength and also to stop being so Canadian and not to allow it or to indulge it. I have to say to you, let's move on to the next question. You know what I mean?
It's not really any of our business. But, I think one thing that's been clear to me even so far in this conversation is that some sort of transition happened to you personally. Like you said, you said after what I went through, after you go through something hard like this, after what my family went through, you can't help but. So all these things lead me to believe that some kind of mental, existential transition happened. I think that's pretty clear.
Yeah, and I think, you know what? I think it should. I think I realized that a lot of the things I had worried about, a lot of the things that I thought mattered, just are not important. And I think, I really wanted to experience the positive things in life and the beautiful things, because I got a sense of mortality. I got a sense of truly the things that are important in life. And for me, every single moment started to matter, and being in the moment started to matter, and being awake in that way.
Hey, Michael, is that change an immediate change?
For me, it was.
Or is that something that you have to work on?
No, Tom, for me, it was like, there was a snap moment. It was not a matter of weeks or a mantra I told myself. It just happened very quickly for me. And I think the understanding of how my world changed, or how I saw who I wanted to be, changed very quickly. And I realized that I wanted to have a mission in my life to be kind. And I thought to myself, you know what? I don't want to indulge the cynical people. I don't want the negativity in my life. I want to just bring joy. This world is tough enough and cynical enough and scary enough, and I just want to bring love.
I definitely understand the impulse to want positive things around you all the time. But I have to admit that I'm listening to you and going, sometimes the world is hard. It's just a hard place, and it's hard to avoid.
It is.
It's hard to turn that stuff off.
From politics, the divide of government, from everything. I mean, there was just so much stuff happening. There's a racial divide, Brexit and Donald Trump, and it was just like the world feels like it's falling apart, and I just didn't want any of the negativity. And it's why
it's hard not to wake up in the morning and check your phone and feel
and I have
way.
days, so many, just like you and just like everyone else, where I am so not the guy that I want to be.
Yeah.
And I think part of that is, for me anyway, is, man, this is really good therapy for me. Thank you so much.
I'm gonna bill you.
You should bill me. I'm literally gonna walk away feeling better and lighter and...
Tell me what you do on the bad days. What do you do on the bad days?
The truth?
Yeah. If you want to.
Okay, I'll tell you. So I was in London and I was feeling anxious. I had to do a really big TV show called The Graham Norton Show.
'Cause I only have eyes for you, dear.
And I was, like anyone would be, I was trepidatious and nervous that I wouldn't be funny or myself, or the anxiety was getting to me. And so I called home on, what do you call it, Skype? I had my two kids looking at me, and I said, boys, Poppy's nervous, I'm scared, it's getting to me today. And I said, would you pray for me? Would you help me to remember what's important? And they closed their eyes, and God knows what it is they said, because they didn't say it out loud. I just heard one of my kids finish off and say amen, and then he looked at me and he said, okay, Poppy, you know what? I talked to God and it's gonna be okay. And man, I just instantly, I felt like I just remembered again, you know?
And I only have eyes, you know I only have eyes, only have eyes for you.
Tell me about the decision to make this new record.
Can I show you something?
Yeah, lay it on me.
Can I have my phone? Because this is the weird part. So before I saw you, I didn't know about, I had no idea if I was going to make a record.
So this was the night at the Junos, the night before the Juno broadcast.
So a month before that, I invited all these guys over to my house, and we just had fun. And we started to make music, and the record came that day. Me sitting in our living room jamming, and I was like, I had forgotten how much I loved music.
Really? You forgotten?
Not forgotten. I'd forgotten how much I loved making music with those guys.
Yeah.
And, oh, here. So check this out. So have you heard the record yet? Yeah. You have, okay.
Yeah,
so like you can name a song, like When You're Smiling.
When You're Smiling.
So check this out. This is, so I put the phone up against the piano, and
So drums and bass up front, or what? Yes, or just vocal pickups and we're right in.
Is this your house?
When you're smiling, when you're smiling.
and that's it, man. And you can go through the list of songs, and they all just came like that. And so it's been really funny because David Foster, we had met, again, months before that even, and he said to me, I'm retired, I'm never coming back.
Right.
And I said to him, yeah, and he said, what about you? Are you gonna come back? And
That's what they said about you too, right?
Yeah, and I was like, well, that was some bullshit.
Yeah.
From the
yeah, obviously that's not true.
tabloid bullshit. But anyway, and I looked at him and I said, what about you? He said, nah, I'm done. I'm retired. And I said, oh, but wouldn't it be fun if you and me could go into the studio and like just be family again and I think that day it sort of put a spark into the other man's mind. And then about a year later, we were making beautiful music.
Michael, thanks so much. Nice talking to you.
It's always nice talking to you. You know what the truth is? We could throw away the cameras.
I think we should.
We could get some drinks and I could hang out with you like this all day.
I can't wait. You let me know. I got lots of bars in my neighborhood.
Dude, I like the way you say bars too.
Everyone could do that with Tom, though. From Instagram to brick and mortar, the new trend, hoping to attract shoppers offline.
You don't see a lot of clutter here. You don't see fixtures everywhere. You don't see a single mannequin in the store. Those are things that a traditional retailer would be like, whoa, why aren't you doing that? You gotta maximize your sales per square foot.
But first, a look at a story we will have tomorrow night here on The National, all about the EU elections and the rise of the Brexit party, with one very familiar message.
Have a quick selfie. Cheers. Thank you, Nigel.
From Brexit champion to political pariah.
There we are. Nigel, over here.
Now he's basking in the limelight again.
Well done, you.
Will Nigel Farage put his stamp on Britain's future?
You got a big kiss on that as well.
His supporters believe it. The government fears it.
Either you listen to us and deliver Brexit, or at the next general election, we will come and replace you.
For weeks, Farage has been crisscrossing the country, promoting his upstart Brexit party. An easy name to remember for a new party with no other policies but to push for a hard EU exit.
A mango is a mango is a mango, right? Well, not quite. These mangoes have been zapped. They've been irradiated with a dose roughly equivalent to 10,000 chest x-rays.
Good. Approved by the FDA, the USDA, the EPA.
Delicious. This peculiar taste test took place in Miami Beach 2 months ago. Lorenzo's became the first place in North America ever to sell irradiated fruit. And there's a chance irradiation may come to Canada. Instead of mangoes, we may end up eating zapped chicken. The irradiation of food may become one of the hottest health issues of the 1980s.
Here is the first really new method of food preservation.
You want to get nuked? Sure, go for it, and let's build a silo in my backyard.
Oh, I have eaten irradiated food, and I certainly would actively look for it if it was in the supermarket.
This is cobalt-60, a byproduct of Canada's nuclear reactors, and the most common power source of food irradiation. This is how it works. Chicken, for example, goes into the irradiator on large pallets. Inside, the cobalt-60 rods are raised from a pool of water. The chicken revolves around the radioactive source. The rods are returned to the water, and the irradiated chicken moves outside. The government is now considering allowing the irradiation of poultry for 2 reasons. Firstly, to cut down salmonella poisoning. Most cases of salmonella poisoning in Canada involve poultry. Secondly, to extend shelf life. For 40 years, scientists have studied food irradiation, and most have declared it safe. They point to the astronauts who munch their way to the moon on zapped steak. They say it's safer, cheaper, and more effective than chemical sprays and fumigants. Sprays and fumigants that in some cases have been outlawed.
We're looking in agriculture for non-chemical means of protecting the crops or the animals.
Dr. Norm Tape of Agriculture Canada has just been made chairman of a UN group of all 26 nations that currently irradiate food.
Irradiation isn't going to be a panacea. It's not going to be our milk supply or breads and our meats and our fish and all that. I think there are going to be selected applications where there are health benefits and it's economically feasible.
The people that work here at Atomic Energy of Canada Limited have asked the government for approval to irradiate poultry. They're waiting for the government's decision with great interest. Most of the 140 irradiators now in use around the world have been produced right here. In the majority of cases, they're used to sterilize medical and hospital disposable goods like surgeon's gloves or cotton swabs. It's a multi-million-dollar business, a growth sector in a nuclear industry that has been slumping badly. If the government gives the green light for food irradiation, AECL could be the big winner.
Well, we're talking many millions of dollars of business a year, well downstream.
Bruce Wilson is AECL's director of marketing. He's sold irradiators around the world from China to South Africa, $15 million worth over the last year alone.
Given that you have a regulation in place, you have the world's biggest and best supplier of this technology in your own backyard.
We will not allow the president to block congressional subpoenas, putting himself and his allies above the law.
The U.S. Congress is threatening to go to court and enforce subpoenas in its investigation into possible obstruction of justice. Former White House counsel Don McGahn skipped his hearing today. The committee has also issued subpoenas to former White House officials Hope Hicks and Annie Donaldson. An Alaskan air carrier has suspended operations after 2 deadly float plane crashes in a week. Last week, a Takwon airplane collided with another aircraft in midair, killing 6 people, including a Canadian. Another Takwon plane crashed yesterday. That killed a pilot and a passenger. Takwon volunteered to stop its sightseeing and commuter flights for now.
In the heart of New York City, an experiment is underway. After years of bricks and mortar stores closing up shop and then heading online, one mall is actually turning the retail experience on its head. How? It is bringing online stories to a bricks and mortar location, so like the opposite. Stephen D'Souza takes us to a mall with a whole floor dedicated to brands that actually started online.
Take a look at New York's latest tourist attraction. The Vessel in New York's new Hudson Yards neighborhood is eye-catching and Instagram-friendly, designed to draw crowds. Inside the shopping mall next door, they're also hoping to draw crowds, using a sort of retail experiment. An entire floor filled with stores you've never seen before, at least not physically.
We try and keep it very curated, very guided, very minimal.
Until now, men's clothing retailer Mack Weldon only existed online. This is their first physical store. A big step, putting them up beside some big names.
This is like showing up for your first game and it's the Super Bowl.
The current American retail landscape has been called apocalyptic. So far in 2019, U.S. retailers have announced they'll close more than 6,000 stores. That's more closings than all of last year. Faced with that reality, the company behind Hudson Yards realized that to keep up foot traffic, they had to go where shoppers are going, online. So they brought the disruptors to them, dedicating an entire floor to brands making their brick-and-mortar debut.
The whole revolution of what was happening online and how aggressive online buying was becoming, somewhat at the cost of bricks and mortar, was stunning, and we couldn't ignore that.
So I think the trend's going to continue.
This marketing professor says landlords need to get creative to attract shoppers.
Landlords need to have rent, they need the cash flow. They don't want to have for rent signs, in empty storefronts.
A few years ago, this block in Greenwich Village was filled with those empty storefronts. Then the developer offered incentives to bring these brands off the web and onto the street. Professor Weiner says they're following big names like mattress maker Casper and eyeglass giant Warby Parker, which started the shift, recognizing that the money is still in stores.
Still 90% of all retail sales take place in a store, in a physical store.
So this is actually one of our best sellers.
But at a time of record store closings, can the new kids on the block avoid the mistakes of the old guard? The key, the new players say, give the customer an experience they can't get online.
We actually find that customers that shop online and shop within our physical spaces will spend more over their lifetime value.
It is great to see the product in person.
Using the information they gather means the store becomes a lab, where they're constantly testing new ideas, products, and layout.
You don't see a lot of clutter here. You don't see fixtures everywhere. You don't see a single mannequin in the store. Those are things that a traditional retailer would be like, whoa, why aren't you doing that? You got to maximize your sales per square foot.
But experts say don't look for this new wave of retail players to sweep across the country, filling up empty malls. They'll pick and choose their spots, likely big and busy cities, where they can prove their success online will work offline in the real world. Stephen D'Souza, CBC News, New York.
Up next on The National, the street art that's already on its way to becoming a Toronto landmark. You know the one I'm talking about.
That one shot in that picture right there was very pivotal in that if he missed it, I'd say he might be leaving, but he made it and he's the king of the city right now.
What fans want Kawhi Leonard to know, that's next in our moment. But first.
In case you missed it, Jamie Oliver's brand has taken a hit.
Who doesn't like a good old curry? Well, my granddad didn't like them, but you know.
Sure, the celebrity chef built an empire as a TV star, cookbook author, and a cheerleader for good nutrition.
To bring better food to all Canadians.
But today, Jamie is Italian. His chain of 25 restaurants sought bankruptcy protection, and 1,000 jobs vanished. Canada's 2 outlets aren't affected.
Come in and see us at Jamie's Italian.
Business began to slide a few years ago, only partly due to Brexit anxiety and the rise of food delivery.
It's just got a bit too chainy.
There's just so many other great places around, just so much competition.
Oliver tweeted today that he is devastated. I am deeply saddened by this outcome and would like to thank all of the people who have put their hearts and souls into this business over the years. He previously said about 40% of his ventures have ended in failure. With an estimated personal fortune of $300 million Canadian, he seems to know when to call it quits.
Proposition that perhaps it is would be wise to use less inflammatory terms than bandits when you talk of a bunch of people who have the lives of 2 men in their hands. You don't think they're bandits? Well, regardless of what I don't think I'd be inclined to wave a red flag in their face if they held 2 of my friends or colleagues with guns at their heads. Well, first first of all, I didn't call them bandits. I call the people who were in jail now bandits, who have been tried before the law and condemned to a prison term. And I said that you people should stop calling them political prisoners. They're not political prisoners. They're outlaws. They're criminal prisoners. They're not political prisoners. And they're bandits. That's why they're in jail. But with your army troops, you seem to be combating them as almost as though it is a war. And if it is a war, is anything that they say have validity? Don't be silly. We're not combating them as a war, but we're using some of the army as peace agents in order that the police be more free to do their job as policemen and not spend their time guarding your friends against some form of kidnapping. But you said earlier that you protect them in this way, but you have said before that this kind of violence, what you're fighting here, the kind of violence of the FLQ, can lead to a police state. Sure. Well, that's what you're complaining about, isn't it? Well, yes, but surely that decision is yours, not the FLQ's.
Yeah, but I've asked you what your own logic is. It's to let them abduct anybody, not give any protection to anyone, call off the police. And that seems to be your position.
Not call off the police. Surely the police's job is to catch people who break the law.
Yeah, but not to give protection to those citizens who might be blackmailed for one reason or another.
Which must be half the population of the country in one way or another. I explain it badly, I think, but what you're talking about, to me, is choices. Yeah. And my choice is to live in a society that is free and democratic, which means that you don't have people with guns running around in it.
All right, then
and one of the things I have to give up for that choice is the fact that people like you may be kidnapped.
Sure.
Sir, if you had to right now...
but this isn't my choice, obviously. You know, I think it's more important to get rid of those who are committing violence against the total society and those who are trying to run the government through a parallel power by establishing their authority by kidnapping and blackmail. And I think it's our duty as a government to protect government officials and important people in our society against being used as tools in this blackmail. Now, you don't agree to this, but I'm sure that, once again, with hindsight, you would have probably found it preferable if Mr. Cross and Mr. Laporte had been protected from kidnapping, which they weren't, because the steps we're taking now weren't taken. But even with your hindsight, I don't see how you can deny that.
No, I still go back to the choice that you have to make in the kind of society that you live in.
Well, there's a lot of bleeding hearts around who just don't like to see people with helmets and guns. All I can say is go on and bleed, but it's more important to keep law and order in this society than to be worried about weak-kneed people who don't like the looks of a soldier.
At any cost? At any cost? How far would you go with that? How far would you extend that?
Well, just watch me.
At reducing civil liberties? To that extent?
To what extent?
Well, if you extend this and you say, okay, you're going to do anything to protect them, this include wiretapping, reducing other civil liberties in some ways?
Yes, I think the society must take every means at its disposal to defend itself against the emergence of a parallel power which defies the elected power in this country, and I think that goes to any distance. So long as there's a power in here which is challenging the elected representative of the people, I think that power must be stopped. And I think it's only, I repeat.
So here's the thing. A Toronto sneakers store has commissioned a major mural of the Raptors star player Kawhi Leonard, and fans cannot stay away from it. In this selfie-taking era, people naturally showing up to take pictures in front of Leonard's triumphant figure and their dedication to Toronto's most popular person. Well, that's our moment.
He's our guy. Hopefully forever. We'll see what happens. But obviously we have a lot of respect for what he did. Even stay or leave, like what he brought for Toronto is huge.
I came to actually see the mural, yeah. I wanted to take a picture. I'm going to go to the Jurassic Park later on tonight. That one shot in that picture right there was very pivotal in that if he missed it, I'd say he might be leaving, but he made it, and he's the king of the city right now.
We came here last week, and it was a totally different Kawhi mural, so I had to get this picture and the shot of him. It's very exciting for the city. I hope that he stays with the Raptors and that we keep him here, and hopefully he continues to bring us through to the finals.
We're just happy he's here. If we do get other moments, like a poster, an epic poster, we might change up the building again. If we win the championship, we'll put up a baby photo of him, whatever we have to do, honestly.
I like that.
I like that too. Also, that's just boss. It looks good. And it looks so good that someone else who's pretty famous showed up and took a picture outside. Do you recognize him? That's Snoop Dogg, yo.
So not only did he show up, but the notional host selfie thing is taking off because Tessa Virtue, the amazing Canadian skater, photoshopped herself into the picture with Snoop Dogg in front of Kawhi Leonard. Yes.
That's even better.
Look, this mural is not just an illustration of that amazing shot, but also the magic when the home team, it goes deep in the playoffs. And unfortunately with hockey, we didn't see it this year. But Adrian, what is it like in Toronto these days?
Well, you know, Sunday night it was raining at Jurassic Park. People were out there anyway. They did not leave. They were rewarded for that. It's a sort of lift the city needs, really.
All right, well, enjoy. That is the national for May 21st. Good night.
Good night.
Night.